When my business partner told me she'd secretly emptied our company accounts of millions, I collapsed right there in my office chair. 3 days later, I was standing in my father's lawyer's office discovering a hidden will that would destroy her completely. That's when I realized life isn't just a chess game. It's one where your most trusted ally can suddenly flip the board while holding the rulebook you never knew existed. If you're watching this, hit subscribe and tell me where you're from. Because trust me, this story twists more than a hurricane on steroids, and you'll want to be here for every shocking turn. My name is Roberto Costello. 6 months ago, I was at the peak of my career, CEO of Costello Enterprises, a company my father built from nothing, and I'd expanded into a multi-million-dollar operation spanning 3 continents. Our headquarters occupied the top floor of a gleaming skyscraper in the financial district, a daily reminder of how far we'd come. And beside me through it all was Alice Romero, my CFO, closest confidant, and the woman I'd trusted with literally everything. We'd met 15 years ago at business school. I was immediately struck by her brilliant mind and unwavering determination. Where I was cautious, she was bold. Where I followed convention, she found creative solutions. We complemented each other perfectly. We're going to change the world together, she told me the night we celebrated our first major contract. Her eyes sparkled with ambition as she raised her champagne glass. You watch, Roberto. This is just the beginning. And it was. Year after year, our success multiplied. When my father passed away 5 years ago, Alice was there, holding my hand at the funeral, helping me navigate both my grief and the sudden weight of full responsibility for the company. I've got your back, she promised. Always. I believed her. Why wouldn't I? She was family in every way except blood. I'd have trusted her with my life. Which makes what happened on that ordinary Tuesday morning all the more devastating. Maria, our head accountant, requested an urgent meeting. Her usual composed demeanor was shattered, hands trembling, voice barely above a whisper. Mr. Costello, there's something you need to see. Script part separator, What Maria showed me made my blood freeze. For transfers, each for millions, had left our main accounts nearly empty. Made over the past month. All authorized by Alice. There must be some mistake, I said, but Maria's face told me there wasn't. I called Alice immediately. Straight to voicemail. Then her assistant said she'd taken a personal day. My stomach dropped. I rushed to her condo. The doorman hadn't seen her in days. Her neighbor mentioned luggage. Lots of it. That night, I received a text. I'm sorry, Roberto. I had no choice. No choice. She'd stolen $17. 3 million, almost everything we had. Projects would collapse. Employees wouldn't get paid. Clients would panic. By morning, the bank confirmed the worst. The money had been moved through 3 different accounts before disappearing offshore. Alice had planned this meticulously. I called an emergency board meeting. Their faces reflected my own shock and betrayal. How could you let this happen? Demanded Victor Mendez, our largest investor. You gave her too much power. No oversight. We trusted each other completely, I said weakly. Well, that trust just cost us everything, he snapped. The next 48 hours were hell. I barely slept, working with our lawyers, the bank, the police. The detective assigned to our case looked tired before I even finished explaining. Financial crimes like these, even if we find her, recovering the money is unlikely. Then my phone rang, unknown number. Roberto. Alice's voice. Calm. Collected. Don't waste money on investigators. Where are you? How could you do this? Your father wasn't the man you thought. Ask yourself why I was the only one he trusted with the truth about his finances. What are you talking about? The offshore accounts. The shell companies. The special arrangements with certain clients? He built this company on dirty money, Roberto. I have proof of everything. You're lying. Am I? Check his personal safe. The one even you don't have access to. The combination is your mother's birthday, backwards. She hung up, leaving me with a creeping dread that my world was about to unravel even further. Script part separator, I drove to my father's old house, my childhood home, that very night. I'd kept it after his death, unable to part with the memories, though I rarely visited anymore. It stood dark and silent, accusing me of neglect. In his study, behind the portrait of my mother, was the wall safe I'd always known about but never opened. My hands trembled as I entered the numbers. My mother's birthday, backwards. The lock clicked. Inside was a single leather portfolio. The moment I opened it, I knew my life would never be the same. Financial statements. Offshore account numbers. Photos of my father with men I recognized from news headlines, not the kind you want to be associated with. Coded ledgers going back decades. I spent that night at his desk, piecing together the truth Alice had thrown in my face. My father, the man I'd idolized, had built our company's foundation with money from illegal gambling operations, tax evasion schemes, and what appeared to be money laundering for some very dangerous people. My phone rang at 3 a.m. Mauro Esposito, my father's oldest friend and our family lawyer. Roberto, we need to talk. Now. How did you know I'd be here? A pause. The security system. It alerts me when anyone enters. An hour later, Mauro sat across from me, his usually immaculate appearance disheveled, as if he'd dressed in a hurry. I see you found it, he said, nodding at the portfolio. Did you know? All these years. He didn't answer directly. What matters now is damage control. Where's Alice? Gone. With our money. Not all of it. His eyes were steady. Your father was many things, but not careless. There's another account. A contingency. For what? For exactly this scenario. He always feared someone might discover his arrangements. Even me. Especially you. He wanted to protect you from the truth. I laughed bitterly. By lying to me my entire life. By giving you a legacy you could be proud of. Mauro leaned forward. The question is, what are you going to do now that Alice has exposed part of it? Script part separator ===. Find her. Get our money back. Mauro's expression darkened. It's not that simple. Those connections your father had. They're still active. If Alice has gone to them with what she knows. I stood up, anger coursing through me. Then we move faster than she does. By morning, I'd assembled a crisis team in my home office. Mauro, Maria from accounting, and Diego Vargas, a private investigator Mauro vouched for, though something in their familiar greeting made me wonder about their history. Our company has 3 days before we miss major payments, Maria explained. We need at least 5 million to keep things afloat. And the police? Diego asked. Useless, I said. They called it a complex financial investigation that could take months. Diego nodded. Let me track her digitally. Everyone leaves footprints. While Diego worked, Mauro took me aside. We have to access that contingency account. Your father left specific instructions. The access codes are in a safety deposit box. 2 hours later, we stood in the bank vault. The safety deposit box contained another shock, a letter from my father, dated just weeks before his death. Roberto, if you're reading this, someone has betrayed you. Likely someone close. I've arranged protection for you, but first, you must understand the true nature of our business and the enemies I've made. Most importantly, know that Alice Romero isn't who she claims to be. My blood went cold. What does he mean? Mauro avoided my eyes. Your father hired Alice. Before you met her. She was placed in your path. My head spun. Our entire friendship, 15 years, had been orchestrated? Just then, my phone buzzed with a text from Diego. Found something. Flight to Cayman Islands. Name, Sofia Duarte. Alice's real name, Mauro said quietly. My world collapsed for the second time in 3 days. Script part separator ===. I stared at Mauro, mind reeling with revelations. Sofia Duarte. You knew her real identity this entire time? Roberto, focus. We have bigger problems, Mauro insisted. The contingency account needs your biometric verification and your father's password. The bank manager guided us to a special terminal. My thumbprint unlocked the first layer of security. The password? I asked Mauro. That's just it. Your father never shared it with me. He said you would know when the time came. I laughed bitterly. How could I possibly know a password to an account I never knew existed? The terminal blinked, waiting. 3 attempts before lockout. My company's future, employees' livelihoods, all hanging by a thread. I tried my father's usual combinations. Failed. Second attempt, my mother's name and my birth date. Failed again. 1 chance left. I closed my eyes, remembering my father's last days. Something he'd said repeatedly in his delirium. Remember the lighthouse, Roberto. Always return to the lighthouse. The lighthouse. Our family vacation spot when I was 10. The summer before my mother died. The password clicked into place. $8. 2 million. Enough to save the company temporarily. We've bought some time, Maria said, relief evident in her voice as we transferred emergency funds. Diego called with news. Sofia Duarte boarded that Cayman flight, but never cleared customs there. She's using multiple identities. That night, I received another text. The money was never the point, Roberto. Your father destroyed my family. This is justice. Check tomorrow's business news. At dawn, the headline broke. Costello Enterprises founder linked to organized crime. Complete with documents, the same ones from my father's safe. My phone exploded with calls. Board members. Clients. Reporters. Victor Mendez was first. The board is calling for your resignation. Distance ourselves from the scandal. I'd saved the company only to lose it anyway. Then Morrow arrived, clutching a sealed envelope. There's something else your father left. A second will. One that changes everything. Script part separator, The second will wasn't a document. It was a video recording. My father, looking frielier than I remembered, stared directly into the camera. Roberto, if you're watching this, someone has exposed our family's darkest secret. Likely Alice, or should I say Sofia Duarte. I felt Morrow stiffen beside me. Sofia's father was Antonio Duarte, my business partner in the early days. We built everything together until a dispute with certain associates ended badly. Antonio took the fall for operations I orchestrated. He died in prison, leaving behind his daughter, who swore vengeance. My father's eyes filled with regret. I tracked Sofia for years, watching her transform herself into Alice Romero. When she approached you at business school, it was no coincidence. I could have stopped it, warned you. Instead, I saw an opportunity to make amends. I brought her close, hoping she'd see the good in you, in what our company had become. The recording continued, revealing more devastating truths. My father had been slowly legitimizing the business, cutting ties with criminal elements, using Alice/Sophia's financial brilliance to clean everything. She doesn't know the full truth. The real money, the clean money, isn't in the accounts she's found. It's all held in trust for you, protected from everyone, including her. The video ended with account numbers, access codes, and one final revelation. Sofia's mother is still alive, living under protection I've provided. Find Carmen Duarte in Marbella. She's the key to ending this. I turned to Morrow, who looked pale. Did you know all this? Parts, he admitted. Your father compartmentalized information. No one had the complete picture. My phone hung de board call in emergency meeting for tomorrow. The company was imploding, clients fleeing, stock plummeting. We need to move fast, Morrow said. Your father's legitimate holdings are substantial, but the scandal. Book me a flight to Spain, I interrupted. I need to find Carmen Duarte before Sofia does. Script part separator, Diego arranged a private flight that same night. As the plane crossed the Atlantic, I studied everything we had on Sofia Duarte. Her father had died in prison when she was 19, convicted of financial crimes that, according to my father's confession, should have been his burden to bear. Marbella was bathed in morning light when I arrived. Using the address from my father's files, I found a modest villa overlooking the Mediterranean. A silver-haired woman opened the door, her eyes widening with recognition. Roberto Castello, Chisaide, Assente Ave. You look just like him. Carmen Duarte invited me in with surprising calmness. Photos adorned her walls, many showing a young girl I recognized as Sophia. She called last night, Carmen said, pouring coffee. Told me everything was set right. That Antonio would finally have justice. She stole millions and exposed my father's past, I said. But that's not the whole story. I showed her the video. Carmen watched silently, tears streaming down her face. Your father paid for my home, my medical care. 4 years, I've received money, she whispered. Sofia das nintinou. She believes I live on Antonio's small pension. Why would you accept help from the man who sent your husband to prison? Carmen zais mini. Because the truth is more complicated than revenge. Antonio made his own choices too. And your father, he came to me after Antonio died. Broken. Seeking forgiveness I couldn't give. My phone buzzed. Mauro, board meeting in 4 hours. They're voting you out. I need to find Sophia, I told Carmen. Not for revenge. To end this properly. Carmen hesitated, then handed me a phone. Call her. She answers for me. When Sophia's voice came through, cold and triumphant, my heart raced. Hello, mother. It's Roberto, Sophia. I'm with your mother in Marbella. Silence, then, if you hurt her. I would never. But there are things you don't know. About your father. About mine. About the money. Script part separator equals. A long pause. Then, her voice, tight with control. You're manipulating me. Just like your father manipulated mine. I need to see you. Face to face. So you can have me arrested? I don't think so. Your mother wants to see you, I said softly. And I'm not the one who's been lying to you. 2 hours later, I sat in a small cafe near the marina, heart pounding. Carmen had refused to come, saying this was between Sophia and me now. I recognized her immediately despite the blonde hair, sunglasses, and casual clothes that contrasted sharply with Alice's power suits. She slid into the chair across from me, removing her sunglasses to reveal eyes filled with cold fury. You have some nerve, Roberto. I placed my father's letter on the table. Sophia's hands trembled slightly as she read. This changes nothing, she said finally. Your father confessed. The evidence is public. Your company is finished. The company was never the point for you, though, was it? It was about destroying my father's legacy. Her laugh was bitter. Your father destroyed lives, including my father's. Including mine. I know. And I'm sorry. Truly. But there's something else you should see. I showed her the video on my tablet. Her face remained impassive, but I saw the shock in her eyes when my father mentioned her mother. He's been supporting Carmen? All these years. She whispered. Ask her yourself. She has her own story to tell. Sophia's phone rang, a business call based on her clipped responses. When she hung up, her expression had hardened again. Your board votes in 1 hour. You'll lose everything, just like I did. I looked at her steadily. Is that really what you want? More destruction. My father wronged yours terribly. But I'm not him. And you're not just Sofia Duarte anymore. Script part separator equals. Her eyes flashed. What are you suggesting? A different kind of justice. One that repairs rather than destroys. I laid out my proposal, a foundation in Antonio Duarte's name to help families of white-collar crime victims, funded by the clean money my father had set aside. Sophia would help oversee it, her financial expertise put to meaningful use. And you think this absolves your father? She demanded. Nothing absolves him. Or me, for inheriting wealth built on others' pain. But we can choose what happens next. Sophia stood abruptly. I need to speak with my mother. Alone. I checked my watch. Board meeting in 40 minutes. I don't have much time. That's not my problem. She gathered her things. I'll contact you tomorrow. The board will have removed me by then. Perhaps that's for the best. With that, she walked away, leaving me alone with the Mediterranean breeze and the crushing weight of imminent failure. I called Mauro. It didn't work. She's unconvinced. Then we go with Plan B, he said grimly. Your father's final contingency. The board meeting was set in our Madrid satellite office. As I walked into the conference room, 14 faces turned toward me, some sympathetic, most hostile. Victor Mendez spoke first. Roberto, in light of recent revelations, we have no choice but to. Before you continue, I interrupted, there's evidence you need to see. I connected my laptop to the projector. The screen filled with banking records, corporate structures, and legal documents. This company has indeed been transformed over the past decade, I began. But not in the way recent news suggests. Script part separator The documents revealed my father's systematic dismantling of all criminal connections over the past 15 years, replacing them with legitimate operations. The final slide showed what truly mattered, proof that Victor Mendez and 2 other board members had known about, and profited from, those same criminal ties. This information becomes public only if you remove me, I said evenly. My father kept meticulous records of who benefited from the company's earlier activities. The room fell silent. Victor's face drained of color. This is blackmail, he whispered. This is accountability, I corrected. Everyone deserves a second chance, including this company. My phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. Check your email. Now. I opened my laptop to find a message from Sophia with a single attachment, a video of herself, addressing the board. Play it, I told the stunned directors. Sophia's face filled the screen, composed and professional, the CFO they all knew. I've transferred back every cent I took, she began. The offshore accounts have been closed. What I did was wrong, motivated by a personal vendetta against Eduardo Costello, not his son. Roberto knew nothing of his father's past, just as I knew nothing of arrangements made with my mother. She paused, her gaze direct. Roberto Costello represents the future of this company, ethical, transparent, legitimate. I've provided documentation proving the company's current operations are entirely clean. My resignation is effective immediately. When the video ended, I addressed the silent room. We have a choice. We can let old sins destroy us, or we can build something better. I propose a reorganization, new ethical guidelines, transparency measures, and a foundation dedicated to making amends for the past. 4 hours later, I emerged with a unanimous vote of confidence and a mandate for change. Outside, Carmen Duarte waited with Mauro. Sophia has gone to close her accounts, Carmen said. She asked me to give you this. Script part separator A sealed envelope contained a handwritten note. Redemption requires action, not just words. I'll help with the foundation, but I need time. Sophia. 3 days later, I was drowning in damage control, press statements, investor calls, employee meetings. The scandal had morphed into a redemption story, but rebuilding trust wouldn't happen overnight. My assistant interrupted. There's someone here to see you. Sophia entered, now with her natural dark hair. The sight of her still triggered conflicting emotions. Betrayal tangled with understanding. I didn't expect you so soon, I said. I found something you need to see. She placed a flash drive on my desk. Your father wasn't the only one with secrets. There's an entire network still operating, people who benefited from the old arrangements and aren't happy about exposure. The files revealed a shadow board, influential figures who'd quietly profited from my father's connections while maintaining pristine public images. Names I recognized. Judges, politicians, competitors. They're planning to destroy what's left of Costello Enterprises, Sophia explained. Your unanimous board vote. Victor Mendez only agreed because they have something bigger planned. How do you know this? Because they approached me. Her eyes met mine. Offered me twice what I took to testify that you were complicit all along. That night, Mauro, Sophia and I worked until dawn, mapping connections and vulnerabilities. Security footage showed Victor meeting with known fixers. Bank alerts indicated unusual activity in subsidiary accounts. They're draining resources through legal channels, Sophia pointed out. By next week, you'll be CEO of an empty shell. The foundation funds, I started. Safe, she confirmed. But the company itself. We need to move faster than they expect, Mauro said, displaying court documents. They've already filed preliminary actions questioning the company's financial stability. Court date? I asked. Tuesday. 4 days from now. Sophia's expression hardened. We don't have 4 days. Their people inside the company are already destroying evidence and creating false trails. Then we don't wait, I decided. We strike first. Tomorrow. Script part separator The next morning, I called an emergency press conference. As cameras flashed, I stood with Sophia beside me, a sight that visibly shocked the reporters. Costello Enterprises is under attack, I announced, not from Ms. Romero's earlier actions, which have been rectified, but from a shadow network of individuals who profited from my father's past operations and now seek to prevent us from moving forward ethically. I detailed evidence of the conspiracy, naming names. Victor Mendez, Judge Ramiro Quintana, Senator Luisa Vega. Bold accusations, one reporter called out. Where's your proof? Sophia stepped forward. Here. She activated a massive screen behind us showing bank transfers, recorded conversations, and time-stamped meetings. And I was supposed to be their inside person. Within hours, the story exploded. Police raided offices. Victor was detained while attempting to board a private jet. The other board members scrambled to distance themselves from the conspiracy. That evening, as Sophia and I reviewed developments in my office, Morrow burst in. They've accelerated the court hearing. Tomorrow morning. That's impossible, I protested. The system doesn't work that fast. It does when Judge Quintana wants to freeze all company assets before he's formally investigated, Morrow replied grimly. Sophia's phone pinged with an alert. They're claiming you've emptied accounts. They've manufactured evidence showing you've been siphoning funds for years. But that's exactly what they accused me of doing, she finished. Ironic, isn't it? We worked through the night, preparing documentation and legal countermeasures. By morning, exhausted but determined, we headed to court. The courthouse steps were crowded with reporters. Victor Mendez stood with his legal team, projecting confident indignation despite his recent detainment. Ready? Sophia asked quietly. I nodded, clutching the briefcase containing what I hoped would be our salvation, the complete financial history of Costello Enterprises, including the shadow board's involvement. If this doesn't work, I began. It will, she interrupted. Truth has to count for something. As we entered the courtroom, I noticed Carmen had slipped in, sitting quietly in the back row. Our eyes met briefly, and she gave me an encouraging nod. The bailiff called for all to rise as Judge Helena Ortiz entered, not Quintana. Due to recent allegations, she announced, Judge Quintana has recused himself. Victor's attorney jumped up in protest, but the new judge silenced him with a glare. Let's proceed, she said firmly. Mr. Costello, I understand you have evidence of a conspiracy against your company? Script part separator I rose, acutely aware that everything hinged on the next few minutes. Your Honor, what we face today is not just a financial dispute, but an orchestrated attempt to bury the truth. I nodded to Sophia, who distributed comprehensive files to the court. Judge Ortiz reviewed the documents, her expression shifting from skepticism to concern. These are serious allegations against prominent individuals. Victor's attorney interjected, Your Honor, these are desperate fabrications from a failing CEO and his criminal accomplice. That criminal accomplice returned every cent, I countered, while your client was attempting to flee the country. The courtroom erupted until Judge Ortiz banged her gavel. Enough. Mr. Mendez, these bank records show you've been moving company assets through shell corporations as recently as yesterday. Victor paled visibly. Those are standard business operations. Sophia stepped forward. My approach, Your Honor. When permitted, she presented a flash drive. This contains recorded conversations between Mr. Mendez and Senator Vega discussing how to, quote, finish what Romero started and bury Costello for good. As the recording played, Victor's composure cracked. This is illegal surveillance. Actually, Morrow interjected, these were captured on Costello Enterprises security systems, which you and the senator knowingly entered while plotting corporate sabotage. Judge Ortiz's face hardened. I've seen enough to issue an immediate injunction preserving all Costello assets pending full investigation. Mr. Mendez, you'll surrender your passport while these allegations are examined. For the first time since this nightmare began, I allowed myself to breathe. Outside the courthouse, cameras flashed as Sophia and I descended the steps. For once, I welcomed the attention. Mr. Castelo. Is Castelo Enterprise Saved? Mestre Romero. Why are you standing with the man you betrayed? Erased my hand for silence. Today, justice prevailed not just for our company, but for everyone hurt by decades of corruption. This marks a new beginning. Sophia stepped forward. What started as my personal vendetta evolved into something more important, exposing a network that's harmed countless people. The Duarte Castello Foundation will help make amends to families like mine. 3 months later, our headquarters buzzed with renewed energy. The scandal had transformed into a redemption story that fascinated the public. Victor and his conspirators faced criminal charges. Judge Quintana had resigned in disgrace. In my office, I signed the final documents establishing the foundation with Sophia as its director. Carmen sat nearby, pride evident in her eyes. You two have created something remarkable from so much pain, Carmen said. Sophia smiled, something I'd rarely seen before. Dad would be proud. Not of my methods, but of the outcome. And your father, I said to Carmen, would be proud of the woman his daughter became. Later, alone at my desk, I opened my father's portrait to reveal the now empty safe. The secrets were gone, replaced by transparency and purpose. My phone buzzed with a text from Sophia. Board meeting tomorrow. Ready to make history instead of hiding it? I smiled, typing back, always. When betrayal shattered my world, I never imagined it would ultimately make it stronger. Sometimes the greatest gift is the painful truth that forces you to rebuild on a foundation of honesty rather than lies.